The first mermaid you met was Shoto. At first, you didn't realize what he was. You'd planned to go through your summer job at the aquarium as quickly as possible, not bothering to pay attention to the fish you've looked at for years. That is, until the biggest tail you'd seen in your life glided by in one of the tanks. You'd never seen that fish before. Maybe it was new. It had a shimmery white scale with crimson patterns, like a koi's, but they were a freshwater species and couldn't live in the ocean habitat. Still, light scattered off its tail as it passed through the glowing blue depth. Out of curiosity, you followed through the exhibit as it swam through coral reef and forests of kelp, until a swarm of tinier fish appeared to obscure your view. When they finally darted away, it had already vanished from sight. After looking around for a while, you gave up and headed for the entrance, where the guests were probably waiting. The aquarium was opening in a few minutes after all. As you walked away, you didn't notice the pair of eyes watching you leave, their owner hiding behind a mass of colorful corals, one pale and gray, the other blue as the sea. Your group was some of young kids on a field trip, and you showed them around the different exhibit, pointing out the various sea life collected from all over the world. Hippocampi from the Mediterranean, playful horses with tails of fish that raced through the sea, shower of sea star from the depth of Atlantis, rumored to grant any wish, a glowing squid that pulsed with a million colors. Oh, look at that one! Hey, what this one's called? Some wondered off to look at the exhibit, their awestruck faces squishy against the dark loom overhead, or their hands reaching in the pool to touch starfish and sea urchins. But most of them were gathering around you, trapping you in a storm of questions. One little girl spoke up. What about the mermaid? You looked at her, confused. I saw him, she protested, eyes wide. He was so pretty, and his tail was so bright and colorful, red and white, like a candy cane. Her classmate only laughed at her as she babbled on, but you felt like you were sinking deeper and deeper underwater with no way up. You were always fascinated by the aquatic magical creature, and you held mermaids especially close to your heart. But holding them in captivity was definitely illegal. They were people too, with their own culture and mind of their own. You couldn't just break him out, right? Can mermaids be captured? Is it legal not to put mermaids in aquariums? How to free mermaid without getting fired? New jobs available near me. The Google search took up the entire search bar on your phone and on your computer when you got home. She could have been lying. You might have hallucinated every odd sighting you've chosen to ignore, every odd scale, every eyes that were neither human nor fish. But at the same time, kidnapping something sentinel and alive just for laughs seemed exactly the kind of thing your boss would try. The ocean was pretty close, and it couldn't be that bad if you were stopping something much worse. Although, they were probably low against it, too. Hours later, long after the aquarium was closed, you found yourself sneaking a whalebone inside. Sorry about this, Lovey, you said to the cheesy fish mascot smiling down from the building sign as you pushed the door open. Except I'm not. That's what you get for paying me minimum wage, you little rat. Legendary Ocean View Aquarium, LOV, or Love. It may have been your first introduction to the marine life that you loved so much, but it was definitely not as great as when you were a kid. That was apparent the moment you stepped in and the first room already felt uninviting. The only light was from the glow of the aquarium tanks at night, with the fish gathering where you passed to look at you. You had a brief moment of hesitation before you quickly dismissed it. This was your chance to do something scandalous and rebellious, at least, and you weren't wasting it. As you push the wheelbarrow around, preparing to ram it right into any monster that might appear out of the darkness, you are reminded of steering a car through the grocery store. Focus! You scold yourself. Where could it be? Where could it... Oh! A steel door off to the side, half hidden by peeling wallpaper covered in cartoon-sick creature, ominous-looking bolts running down its side. From behind it, you could hear the faint buzzing of some kind of machinery. You'd seen enough science-fi movie to know you shouldn't go in there. And sure enough, harsh letter declared it authorized personnel only. Do not enter. This looks interesting. And in the immortal world of DW, that sign couldn't stop you, because you can't read it. It opened with a screeching groan that echoed in the darkness, and you stopped, hearing only your heartbeat and praying you wouldn't hear anything else. The unsteady hum of electricity surrounds you as you pass by empty things and damp cleaning supplies. You felt more and more uneasy, but you pushed yourself forward, even with the overwhelming feeling that you shouldn't be here pressed down on you with every step. It was one thing to be alone before opening hours, but the place looks creepy as hell at night. The merman, though, he looked like the belonging in a fairy tale or something. When you found him, he was in an open cylinder sharp tank, surrounded by eerie green light that lit up to the surrounding water. The boy was ethereal, even if you didn't look below his waist. You had seen those luminous eyes before, although you'd always thought you imagined them. His hair looked surprisingly silky, despite living in the salt water his whole life, and it waved gently in a breeze that wasn't there. It waved because they were filament, of course, designed to sense prey in the surrounding water but finding one. Translucent, fin billowed out of elegancy around him like bridal veils, his opalescent scale marking him as a young adult among his species. Some were scattered along his arm. You smiled at him, and he gave a relieved smile back, revealing too sharp teeth. Then, he saw what you're planning to use, and the smile dropped instantly. You're not serious. There were many layers of voice woven in, the husky growl of a fisherman, the lightning hum of sailor mid-song. It all combined to make a voice that sounds so much like the ocean. And suddenly, you understood why people were willing to dip overboard for it. I am! You reached out to him, arm wide. Don't you want to be free? He looked at you. He looked at the whaleboat. He looked at the other merman rising from its tank menacingly behind you, with charred scales and blue eyes like a gas fire, and said, All right, but you better be fast. There was a splash and a thud as he slid inside, and you took off right before something big took a bite from your shoulder. It shrieked, flopping after you, with the anchor stuck in its black tail banging against the floor with harsh clanging noise. You mumbled expletive under your breath as you frantically wheeled the mare down the hallway. There was a terrifying moment where you had to stop and open the door, with the scream of the thing growing closer, and your heart didn't beat until you grabbed the handle again. The Kappa watched with interest as you rushed past this thing, with the neighboring fish swimming over to see what was going on. In the next exhibit, the squid tipped its hat in farewell. Finally, the double door swung open, and you ran. Oh God, the cool air had never tasted so sweet. It blew against your face as your feet hit the ground, the world speeding fast. You could see the ocean rise in the distance. The moon blurred across its surface like a streak of paint, singing and calling to her son. Finally you've returned. Finally you have come back to me. You weren't used to the marina being so empty and cold. It was hard going down the step ramp with the whaleboat, little by little, but it was made even harder by how dark it was. The few lights that were there glared down at you harshly, and the merman hissed and flinched away from them. The boat crackled and bubbled up and down out the water, Your shadow stretched wide across them. Finally, you came to the edge of the docks, and he slid out cautiously. The gills on his side starting to open and close, preparing to breathe in the water. Thank you for saving me, shining from the light on the moon, colored like a pattern in blue and green and violets. What's your name? Listen. Listen. He repeated, testing the foreign word in his mouth. You heard clicks and purrs among the human voice now. I'm Shoto. He was there one moment, gone the next. Without another word, he tumbled down into the wave, his tail flashing in the darkness before disappearing with a tiny splash. Your flashlight barely illuminated the murky water, but you still saw a glimpse of red and white diving below the dark green depth before fading away completely. If only you'd taken a photo of something. It was almost like a dream. You stayed there for a while, listening to the wave lap at the shore and the wellbow faraway boat in the distance, letting the cool sea breeze rush over your skin. Golden light dotted the harbor on the other side, reflecting in glimmer of the water. You'd done your job of releasing him, and now it was time for you to go home too.
The